For the second part of this workshop, we will be focusing on Google Drive. So Google Drive is our best friend when it comes to organizing all digital files that are in our Google Docs that we have uploaded that we want to save. It truly is a really great filing system and organization system that can get very cluttered and very easily scattered. And in this part of the workshop, I want to show y'all how to be able to organize it in a way that it makes sense, that you are able to make the most out of everything and most out of the organizing capabilities, and also, be able to access everything very easily and very nicely. So for tip number one is, my first tip is always create folders. For everything, always create a folder. So if you have, for a particular class, create that folder. If you want to have all of your PowerPoints, create a PowerPoint folder. If you want to create, say, a bill folder, create a bill folder. I just really recommend creating folders so then that you are able to transfer in all of the different documents into your folders. And why is that? Because a lot of times as you can see, I have a lot of folders on my screen. However, all of these folders are, say, maybe 10 or 20 documents each. So it's a lot easier to look at, say, maybe, what is it, maybe like 25, or a little bit more, maybe like 20 something ish folders than looking at, say, hundreds of different documents and having to scroll through and trying to find something. So as you can see, I have folders for many of the different occupations and many of the different things in my life. Um, and so I feel like when you are able to organize folders like this, you are truly able to find everything easier. My second tip for being able to be organized in Google Drive has to do with the documents itself. So I cannot stress this enough, and that this is something that I to this day is still working on as I'm trying to develop my digital organization, is it is so important to name things and to not leave things as just untitled document, which is the default that Google Docs does. Or when you upload something, to change the name, because sometimes we download something and it's just like a long URL or a long name, and like we don't know what it is. It's so important to always name things and to create a system that works for us to be able to name things. So for example, we can just pop in and see, physics 50. Well, there's nothing there, but let's see. Let's go into um, political science. So here we have this tab that has all of this, um, these different documents. And if you notice, everything here has some type of labeling system. I have political science lectures, which is a running document of all my political science lectures. I have my paper. Um, a lot of times, we just want to get started on the paper and we just keep going and going and going, and then we just turn it in and then it's lost. And sometimes we might need to refer to it. So then we have to look through the files and try to find. So now if I ever need to find my city council paper for whatever reason, I have it right there. I also recommend, if there are multiple versions, to note that in the name. So city council paper part 1, version 1, um, or even adding the date. Adding the date can be very beneficial, especially when, say, you have a lot of resumes or you tailor your resumes to different applications. It's very important to make sure that you're keeping track in the name of what version it is. And it's gonna take, it takes that extra second, and it can be bothersome to name the document before you start working, but if you really just push through it and just get that name in there, it will save you a lot of time in the future. And then for my tip number 3 is actually something that you will need a mobile device for, or a scanner, And something that I really recommend is scanning, or if you take digital notes, uploading those notes to your Google Drive. So for example, if you go to my OChem notes, these are all of my chapter notes that I had taken. And for me, it's a little bit easier because I digitally take notes. So I'm able to upload those fairly quickly from the application that I use on my iPad to Google Drive. However, there are multiple iPhone and Android scanning apps where you're able to just scan, take pictures and scan, take pictures and scan, and say once after you're done with a unit or chapter in a class, you can go ahead and just upload that. So as you can see, for me, I have it in terms of weeks because a week was a module in this class, in this organic chemistry class, and so you know I'm able to see things in PDF form, but also what truly helps doing this method is you're not going to be cluttered with extra paper. You are going to be able to access this wherever you go on your phone if you download the Google Drive app. And well, in general, if you want to scan documents and upload those into Google Drive, you will have to, there's different ways to do it, but the easiest way would be to scan on your phone and then transfer it directly into your Google Drive. So you will need that application for that. Having just the Google Drive app and being able to pull up these notes wherever you go. Like I take my notes on an iPad. I don't even have to depend on my iPad anymore to look at my notes. All I have to do is log into a computer, any computer or anywhere, and I have access to my notes. So this is also a good practice. It helps you also declutter, not have as many loose papers going around, having things set. So that's just a recommendation that I have. And obviously it's a little bit more easier for people who digitally take notes, but it is very possible for people who handwrite their notes. And then for my tip number 4, which is if you're going to have personal documents, as you can see, I have some medical records on here. I have some receipts on here, some bills on here, some financial aid information. Please, please, please be careful with your information. Please protect your account. Currently, all students right now have dual access, but I even recommend going even further and doing the two verification factor. So if you just Google two verification, this would pop up and you are actually able to set this up. This basically, it works very similar to Duo, where you will get an email to your mobile device if you're logging in somewhere else, or some type of notification that someone's trying to enter your account, or that you're trying to enter your account. So please, 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 if you are going to have documents that are personal information or that you do not want everyone to have, I would recommend using, for sure having Duo, which we already have, which if you're using your MySJSU email, Duo is already part of your protection services. But if you're using a private account, I would really recommend setting up that two verification system, because we never know what may happen, and it's important to be safe and keep our information safe. But yeah, that's the end of part 2, and now we are on to part 3, which is email filters.